You're listening to That's Pretty Dark,
the podcast where we talk about all the entertainment that scared us as children
and still haunts us as adults. So grab your flashlight and join us as we take a frightfully nostalgic look over our shoulders.
And under our beds.
And in our closets.
And together, we'll realize, whoa, that's pretty dark.
So something's eating your house?
Yeah, would you like to diagnose the problem that I'm having currently?
Okay, so I'm looking at the pictures that you sent me, and it looks kind of
bad.
like the...
It looks bad, right?
It looks like the werewolf from Courage took a bite out of your roof.
Truly, I think that might have been what happened. I wasn't there to see, so who knows? It could have been anything.
But you've heard it?
Yeah, I've heard
scratching
sounds.
around?
I've heard scratching sounds.
That's crazy, man.
I haven't heard it during the daytime yet. It's only been the past couple days. And anytime I've heard that before, it's been something like low to the ground, whatever. But I've just heard this incessant scratching different times the past few nights. So I went out just now to check it out, and happened to look up, and there's just a huge chunk of the eave of my house that's missing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just gone. Nowhere to be found. There's no pieces that have fallen, right? Like there's nothing that has exploded or
so it's not just being torn apart, it's being eaten. Hatched. That's good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
My house might be hatching.
Maybe
something's hatching from it.
Maybe something's getting in there to put eggs in that are going to hatch.
I hate that. I like that even less. I like that even less.
And then they're going to eat you at night
in the process.
Yeah, they're going to come out your house.
Lately, my attitude towards anything like that is kind of just come at me, bro. Do your worst. But
I mean, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. What am I going to do about it?
Darklings know I've dealt with my fair share of medical trauma. There's been no shortage of that so far in 2026. You know what? If that's how I go, that's how I go.
I mean, but come at me, though. That's how you, lose an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? That's how you, die in the episodes of one of these
Maybe in a, no.
See,
shows. That's how you go in a horror movie. That's not necessarily how you go in Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I mean, I guess so. I don't know. The kids always fight back, and they always find a way to survive.
I guess we might not know.
Hey, but that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Eggs hatching, kids surviving, and not giving up, no matter how easy it may sound, on That's Pretty Dark.
Too easy. Easier all the time.
My name is Christian Mott.
My name is Kaylin Andrews.
And we are continuing our foray through Season 2 of Are You Afraid of the Dark? We're in the penultimate episode this evening.
That's insane to me.
I know.
It both feels like we should have been here forever ago, and I can't believe we're here already.
I'm glad it's taking this long. I want to do Are You Afraid of the Dark every episode.
I want to do Are You Afraid of the Dark forever, so it's worth it to be so staggered.
I don't know why. I've been thinking about endings a lot lately, and I started to think about, if we were at the end of covering Are You Afraid of the Dark, I would be...
No, I'm going to grieve it. We will both grieve
I would
whenever that day comes.
The end of the show. So we're going to have to stretch it out and make it last as long as possible.
We're doing a damn good job, because we've been here for 4 years, and we haven't even fully made it through 2 seasons.
We are in Season 2, Episode 12. This episode released on September 25th, 1993. And the IMDb summary is, a brother and sister enroll at a boarding school, but soon find out their headmasters are aliens plotting to take over Earth. My summary that I got to write.
Yeah, yes, please.
When 2 siblings are temporarily abandoned at a boarding school by their parents, they learn that conformity doesn't necessarily mean survival, and not all rules should be followed. Because you know what they say.
Couldn't agree more.
If you want to save the planet from a hostile alien takeover, you got to break a few eggs.
Good one.
I had to.
Nicely done.
Thank you. This episode was written by Chloe Brown, aka DJ McHale, and it was directed by DJ as well. This one is a poignant episode, and maybe why I was thinking about ending so much, because this is David's final story.
David.
Sweet David.
We all have very tender feelings about David. I feel like he's
so
representative of so many of us in the Midnight Society.
I think I'm the most like David, to be honest. I've had to admit that. I want to be a Gary.
You want to be Gary?
I'm really a David.
I'm a Betty Ann, so I get.
There you go. So David comes back next episode to finish Season 2. But at the beginning of Season 3, Gary reveals that David and Kristen have both moved away. So we've already heard Kristen's final story too. That was the tale of the frozen ghost I just didn't realize it at the time.
That was her last story? I had no idea.
Last one. I didn't know.
Wow.
I didn't know. And it's just really funny how this happens in this episode, because the whole point of David's story tonight is that he just moved across town.
Yeah, change schools. Is that foreshadowing, or is it just...
I think they just didn't realize that Nathaniel was going to leave the show. Because he left to go be on another show. So I just think they didn't
maybe,
really...
I mean, that laid in, that could still translate to, I can't get back here all the time. This is still far from where I live now. Like,
that's true. I think they used
it could work that way.
And because this is David's final story, and also because it ended up meaning a lot to me for some reason, I want to sit with the beginning of this episode for just a minute.
I love to be around the campfire.
This episode begins with David alone in the clearing. He's come to the meeting early to build the fire himself and do a little brooding before the others arrive.
You okay? I'm fine.
See, David's upset that he's had to start going to a different school because his family recently moved across town. Sure, he still lives close enough to attend the Midnight Society meetings for now, but that doesn't make this change any less difficult. Especially when it's the Midnight Society members giving him the most shit for being upset.
Yeah.
This is his safe space, and they're just like,
well, they
what's
mainly
wrong with
being
you?
Frank.
Yeah, it's true.
And Kiki, but...
Well, first they patronize David for being able to build the fire himself, all by himself, you know. Even Gary's tone is a little more, good job, little buddy, than he probably intended.
It's kind of a David graduation in that way of like... They're all recognizing David is his own person now.
There's more to David than we ever realized before, you know. It's sort of like...
Which doesn't make sense because his stories are always... That's always been there. That's always been very clear. But they're always still so condescending, like you said. Or most of them, anyway.
But yeah, then there's Frank and Kiki who lay into him for having some big feelings he hasn't fully processed.
As if they wouldn't have the same feelings, but that's how kids do. That's how kids are. That's projection.
Yep.
And honestly, all of that whole idea is very, like, it's very DJ McHale after school special. What will kids relate to? Oh, I had to change schools. It's a whole new life. It's a whole new routine. It's a whole, like, I'm afraid I don't know where my classes are. I mean, granted, I was homeschooled, but homeschooled until I graduated high school. But like in college, I used to go prior to the semester starting, like on a weekend maybe, and make sure I knew where my classes were.
Oh, yeah.
I would go check it out ahead of time. It's a little different because you're like driving. Well, I mean, we both went to kind of a commuter school, but like I was driving across campus and trying to figure out where my classes were. So that, I mean, it's kind of, it's relatable. It's relatable to kids, especially because you're like, your whole daily routine has been upended. Like you're in a whole new place. You might not be in the right place and everybody's going to make fun of you for that.
Now, I don't mean to brag, but I'm something of an expert in fireside brooding. It's not for everybody, and I know that, but it's one of my favorite pastimes.
Don't we know it?
You might even say I'm classically trained. And even though it's increasingly becoming a lost art in these modern times, brooding fireside is one of the most human things you can do, especially when there's nothing else you can do.
We've talked about that a lot in our show. The stories that come from the earnest fireside conversation. Something about that flickering light just makes humans and people, just people in general, modern humans and ancient ones, maybe say more than they mean to.
So I don't know who needs to hear this. Maybe I'm just saying it for me or, you. But if you're a fellow fireside brooder, not everyone's going to understand your need to get lost in those flames. And that's okay. Because we don't brood for them. We brood for us. I gotta say, though, the intro to this one really threw me off. I understand wanting to shape the dynamics around David's feelings and why he'd want to tell this type of story. But as far as teenagers go, I usually think of the Midnight Society as a rather emotionally intelligent group.
Me too.
They're all elite storytellers, according to our pretty dark lore. And everybody knows that effective storytelling requires empathy.
Every time.
So like you said, DJ used this in his very after-school special kind of way to make a point. Because for the sake of tonight's episode, empathy is used as a plot device to convey the message that we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss the feelings of others. Because everybody's human experience is rife with trials and tribulations. Even
if we ourselves don't understand them.
Right. And nobody should be made to feel less than for struggling with the hand they've been dealt.
Agreed.
I think that's an important message that we should all hear.
Especially right now.
And to be completely honest, though, David's situation was something I always had trouble wrapping my mind around. Like as a kid, I thought about this kind of thing a lot, like moving away, going to a new school, whatever, big change.
Yeah. Me too.
Probably because of shows like this that helped us empathize with the plight of other kids experiencing different things.
Yeah.
But it's not something I ever had to personally experience. I lived in the same house. I went to the same school until I went to college, really. I basically had the same friends my entire childhood, especially the neighborhood kids.
I'm close to that. It's not exact, but I'm close to that because there was a shift. I started homeschooling when I was in the 3rd grade, which was kind of a big deal because I did have established friends like at my elementary school, but it wasn't that different.
Okay, so you went to a school and then you were homeschooled.
Yeah. I feel like
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I went to school for 3 years and then started homeschooling. So I had established friends, but my family, my mom actually, kind of established the homeschool group at the elementary school that I was attending. So I was homeschooled, but I was still homeschooled through the same school. And that was the same up until 7th grade, I think. And I remember that it changed, or actually it was probably somewhere like toward 8th grade, closer, because the middle school, like the school that I went to was a K to 8th school. And my whole life, I looked forward to my 8th grade graduation because it was that's when you're grown up. You know, that's when you're grown up. That's when you are like regarded as a human person when you graduate 8th grade. Because I went to a K to 8th school, so they're like the top dogs, you know. And then when I was in 7th grade, my parents were like, no, it wasn't their fault at all. But it was just like the homeschool group had grown to the point where they're like, we're going to transition. Like we're going to be at a different covering. There's more opportunity. There's more like room for us. We're going to be able to like have our own building and space or whatever. And so we moved schools when I was in 7th/8th grade, like in that same time frame. So I never got my 8th grade graduation that I looked forward to all my life. But I did. Yeah, I did have that shift. But it was still, then it was taking all of my homeschooled friends that had been in different grades at that other school into kind of our own place. So it became more so like the middle school was grouped together and the high school was grouped together. And I was moving into high school at that point. So I guess I was in 8th grade. So it was like I was getting into 9th grade when all of this was taking place. So I had a couple people that were coming with me. And then there were a bunch of new homeschooled kids that had decided to join a homeschool specific covering. So I guess I had somewhat of a transition at that point in my life, but it wasn't, none of it felt like it felt jarring to leave that first school, I guess, but none of it felt especially jarring because there were a lot of the same faces and characters that were in my life still, you know?
Yeah. I think that's the most important thing too, is like being able to keep
your
friends.
You're like grounded in those friendships. And so that's what kind of carries you through. Like Thomas, like we talk about him often because you knew him as well in high school, but he was with me at that transition point, like from 7th grade onward.
Yeah.
So yeah. Those relationships are what carry us.
Because those were still the days before everybody had cell phones and MySpace.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
When somebody moved away,
it was more so the idea,
or
that
went
somebody
to a different
could
school,
just
it's like
disappear.
they were just gone.
Yeah. I fully know what you're talking about. That experience. Yeah. I still think about my best friend from like preschool because I went to like a little mom's day out thing, and I still think about like we just parted ways and I never knew her again. I don't even know her last name. And I know there are a bunch of darklings that are out there that are like, yeah, guys, this happens to all of us all the time. Like I moved 6 times when I was in elementary school or whatever. And
I've always heard stories about kids like you.
Yeah.
You know, what was it like?
But the pain of that idea pre-social media, when it was like, oh, we'll keep in touch. You'll be pen pals. You'll keep in touch. You're like, parents kind of make those promises and you hope that way. We all hope that way, you know?
It's never true.
But life rarely like allows for that, you know?
You know, maybe they had an AOL Instant Messenger on their home computer.
If you got really lucky.
But maybe they didn't even have a home computer. You know what I mean? So like.
And then they're just gone to the ether, gone to time.
Just gone. I mean, yeah, we'd have kids move out of the neighborhood and just be gone. It was like, it was kind of like they died. I mean.
Right. Because it is. I mean, that is. You grieve that loss.
You never see them again.
Right.
I still have old friends I've never heard from again since. It's like, wow.
What became of that person.
It's sad looking back.
Yeah. There are a lot of reunions with social media, but
I've had
it
some
comes
of that.
up often being millennials, being the last generation, like pre-internet generation. We had a pre-internet childhood and a new internet adolescence. So we had both, like we had a foot in both worlds. And a lot of us have been lucky enough probably to reconnect with people because of that. But we are still like kind of the last generation to have that ambiguity, to have that loss where there's just a disappearance.
Because like now you can just like follow them on TikTok, you know?
Right. And they'll be around. Like you could DM them if you wanted to. Yeah. And like there is a connection there. And there's something beautiful about that, but there's something tragic about that too. Like it's just, it's all different. But what's really tragic is that nobody will experience it that way again, probably. Unless there's just a complete downfall and a complete corruption and breakdown of society. And then
that's going to happen.
Well,
it's just a matter of time.
We're on our way.
Yeah. So, this is where David is in his life. Everything is changing. He's having a really hard time with it. Kristen gets it. Betty Ann gets it. Gary kind of gets it with his week, you'll get used to it.
Yeah. Gary, in this case, it's a little bit of toxic positivity because he's just like, hey, it's going to be okay. Like, it'll be fine. But he's coming at it from a place that we respect because it's like that authoritative older kid that has been there and he knows where you've been. So he is empathetic. He's not dismissive.
He is. But I also
he
feel
has
like,
so much experience that David can't relate.
I was going to say, Gary's the kind of guy that would just be okay in really any situation that's thrown at him. Like, because he just find a way to cope and like go watch an old sci-fi movie and he'd be fine. But like other people don't work like that.
It'll be better tomorrow.
Yeah. The sun will come out tomorrow.
Well, he's a meteorologist now, so.
Hey, so he would know when the sun is or is not gonna come out.
If you think it's funny, why don't you try changing schools? You don't know anybody, you get lost. The kids treat you like you're invisible because they already have their own friends. If that means I'm being a baby, then I guess I'm being a baby.
Yeah.
I love how he just like doubles down. He's just like,
this is how I feel. Yeah. These are my feelings.
And this moment's directed well because you can see the guilt on their faces, Frank and Kiki, as they realize that David's feelings are totally justified. They finally go, oh yeah, if this happened to me, I wouldn't like it either.
It's really interesting that
simple,
trigger
important.
for empathy and the idea that they know David in this one context, but all of us have plural contexts. All of us have multiple places where we exist, multiple relationships that like define our existence.
Right.
And to watch that dawn on a group of kids collectively, it's pretty cool.
It dawned on them and it dawned on us at home. In many ways, David is far more emotionally mature than some of the other members. Not just because he knows the value of a quality fireside brood, but because he's already done what every artist must learn how to do at some point in their lives. He's alchemized those negative feelings into creative energy and turned his fears into the premise of a new story. Like Gary says, now you're talking.
We say that often around this campfire. And that's one of the most beautiful parts of what DJ built,
Honestly, yeah.
That storytelling legacy.
It's a big lesson to learn.
Hey, I'm here. I'm in this situation. I'm in this place. I'm going to turn it into a story that's going to make you think about my perspective and other people's.
Yeah. Here's what this feels like to me because you won't understand it unless I tell you the story.
Yeah. That's good.
It's about two kids who have to go to a new school. It is strange for them at first, too. But what they find out is this school is far stranger than they could ever imagine.
Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, David calls this story The Tale of the Hatching. It's not about houses hatching.
No,
eggs
houses hatching creatures
from eggs that eat your house. It's not. It's different from that.
Yeah.
Similar.
Different than my daily life.
Similar.
But similar enough.
David's story begins just outside the front gates of the Black Brook Boarding School, one of the best around, where a poodle sniffs at a manhole cover that quickly opens and closes back down, replacing that poodle with a puddle
The poodle got
of
snatched.
classic 90s green slime.
Green slime. And Pennywise.
That you?
Yeah, hey.
We did the thing.
We did the thing.
That Mason was talking about. That's fun. The Wilson family arrives at the school and parks outside the front door of the large building, with its classic post-industrial pre-war construction, as Augie says. In other words, its ornate brickwork, arch-top windows, aged copper roof, not to mention the big-ass security cameras mounted to the exterior.
They're rubbing it in my face, the architecture today.
I am.
I'm just thinking about how much it's going to cost to fix my house.
Yeah. I wonder how many bites are taken out of the side of this building. There's a really good chance those cameras came with this location because it wasn't a school in real life, but an old water purification facility called the Atwater Treatment Plant, most of which was
No way.
constructed between 1911 and 1918. But the building we see in this episode was built in the early 1920s. And to quote the website for the Canadian Society of Civil Engineering, the original pumping station on this site opened in 1856 to provide the first public water supply for the city of Montreal.
Whoa.
So this is like the place that made water safe to drink in Montreal.
In Montreal, Canada.
Like first, before
wow.
others began, imitating.
Imitating. I don't think it's so much imitating. I don't think that's the word. There was growth community. But wow, that's wild. I would have never known.
This is the site. I know.
So you're telling me that the site of the very first drinkable water in a Montreal city or community is also the site of a hatching of some reptilian friends.
Hey,
I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but I'm getting ahead
maybe
of us.
Maybe they built it for, the New
purpose.
World Order. Could be.
Yeah, makes sense.
The rumor is that DJ wrote this episode around the location because allegedly they just toured it on a location scout one day and he loved the look too much not to use it.
That's really cool. I feel like that's pretty rare in Are You Afraid of the Dark history?
It's got to be, yeah.
For a story to come from a place.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it often happens in life, but that's not often how it happens on TV and on the screen.
And Mr. and Mrs. Wilson also love the look, but their children, Augie and Jazz, more fun names for Are You Afraid of the Dark, they're less than impressed.
I think it's a pit.
At least Augie is matter of fact about it. Jazz is just determined to have a bad time.
And Jazz has a very Judy Funny kind of vibe to her. Their bongos are going to pop out somewhere and she's going to do some beat poetry.
And we quickly learn that Mr. and Mrs. Wilson have to go away on business and they don't want their kids' education to be disrupted. So they decide to enroll them into this boarding school. I guess that means they don't have any relatives or close friends who could just keep the kids for a while they're gone and take them to school.
Quite odd. Yeah, I don't...
We don't want to disrupt your education, but we do want to disrupt your entire childhood.
Your entire childhood and life. Let's just put you in this place.
Yeah.
Boarding schools were such a thing.
Like
such a thing for a long time. I'm sure they still are in certain cultures and places.
They're still around.
It's
still
such
prevalent.
a thing. And I get it. I understand the appeal or the idea of it. I was always fascinated by summer camps and similarly boarding schools. The idea that you can go to this place and you have your whole insulated culture and family and you're learning things from your friends. And I mean, it's a totally different cultural shock.
It absolutely is. And we are going to get into boarding school, the culture of it. And some of the
Darklings,
some of the
share your
repercussions.
stories, please.
Yeah, if you went to a boarding school,
you.
Tell us about it.
Because we've all we imagine Hogwarts, right? We have ideas in our head of what a fictional boarding school is like.
They're featured in fiction for a reason.
Frequently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unclear how long this arrangement is supposed to last. The kids at one point say 6 months, but then when their parents leave, their mom's like, "We'll see you in a month." I don't know if that's they'll be able to come visit.
Yeah.
Either way, 6 months is a very long time, even with monthly reunions. So I couldn't imagine ever experiencing that as a kid.
Yeah, it's like a semester.
In order of appearance, Mr. Wilson is played by Pierre Lenoir, who was born in Paris. I guess he moved to Canada to pursue a film career. It's unclear. He only has 3 acting credits, but he's got over 100 credits in the sound department of mostly French titles, I guess French-Canadian titles. Augie Wilson is played by Ilya Woloshyn, who appeared in 1 episode of the 1980s Twilight Zone, 1 episode of the Friday the 13th TV series, 1 episode of the War of the Worlds TV series.
He really gets typecast.
He really does. 39 of the Odyssey TV series.
Hey.
And 2 episodes of The Kids in the Hall, which is the most impressive, I think, of all of them, but out of left field, no less.
Wow.
Mrs. Wilson is played by Liz McRae, who returns for the tale of the Fire Ghost in season 4 and the tale of Bigfoot Ridge in season 6. But she's also had a substantial number of voice acting credits, including various animated films based on the Oz books, 13 episodes of Young Robin Hood, 112 of Whimsy's House, 24 of Country Mouse and City Mouse, 20 of Rotten Ralph, and so many others. She's most recently been acting in the Alice in Borderland series, which I haven't seen, but I've heard is pretty good.
Yeah, me too.
Jazz
Good for her.
Wilson is played by Heather Brown, who acted in 24 episodes of a period show called Road to Avonlea. But more importantly, she plays Lizzie in both parts of the Goosebumps episode One Day at Horrorland.
Nice. Makes me want to go watch that series, though. I liked her a lot. She had a lot of personality.
Yeah.
She didn't do it the way other people do it, you know?
No, she was good. Yeah, I don't know if it's Avonlea.
Avonlea?
It's Avonlea.
L-E-A, yeah.
Yeah.
Avonlea.
I have no idea. Avonlea? Road to Avonlea. I don't know. Check it out. Let me know how it is. Tell me how it's pronounced.
Yeah, I should.
While searching for the Taylors who run the school, the Wilsons are alarmed by the screams of a young girl named Marie, who's been sick in bed with the fever. When they find her alone in the West Dormitory, she explains that she was just having a nightmare.
I love how this family that's just visiting the boarding school can randomly waltz into the girls' dormitory.
They're just
Like, they can
running
just
to the
walk
rescue,
in.
like, here we are.
Yeah,
Child
we're parents.
asleep
We
in bed.
comfort everyone. That's our job as parents. Hello. Like, you've never met us, but we're going to help.
Do parents just have carte blanche to just like do whatever they want?
They shouldn't, but it seems as though they did at this time.
Ooh, I was always told to trust parents. If you're lost, find a mother.
Find a mom. Find a mom with other kids. I was told the same thing.
Yeah.
But not all parents are trustworthy, y'all.
Most of them aren't.
Marie, I think she even says something. They're like, we're parents. Like, that's who we are. She says, who are you? And we're like, we're
She's
parents.
like, who are
it's
you?
okay.
We're parents.
We're
She's like,
parents.
I don't- but who are
Being
you?
parents doesn't fix that. Like, it doesn't make that okay that you're at my bedside in the night. Like, well, even the morning, it doesn't help.
No, if I just woke up and there was somebody's random
Who are you?
parents
Well, we're
in my
parents.
bedroom, we're parents.
Who cares?
Get out of my house.
Yeah.
But we're parents. Me too. But like Augie says, delusionary dreams are often caused by elevated temperatures. I think we're all familiar with the concept of fever dreams
Fever dreams.
and how they're often more real than we remember.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think all darklings can relate to that feeling.
we never do hear the details of Marie's fever dream, but fearing that she just might tell us what it was, the Taylors arrive to do a little preemptive damage control.
Mm-hmm.
They do this bumbling sort of, oops, she should be in the infirmary. Silly us, we never should have left here alone with this fever. It's a classic case of confessing to something small to conceal a greater crime,
Mm-hmm.
which is almost definitely the thing that Marie was dreaming about. Mrs. Taylor is played by Maria Heidler, and Mr. Taylor is played by Philip Spinsley, who comes back for all three parts of The Tale of the Silver Sight in season 7. And while Mrs. Taylor takes Marie to the infirmary, presumably, Mr. Taylor takes the Wilsons to his office, where he explains that they're old-fashioned here at Blackbrook and believe that an orderly environment is essential to the learning process. And all seems to be going well for his obviously rehearsed spiel, until the thing with the sound happens. See, we're gradually introduced to the concept of Blackbrook's tone system, which has essentially replaced the classic school bell that traditionally rings to signify class changes, lunch, etc. But in this particular case, because it's a boarding school, in the words of Mr. Taylor, the tone system signifies the end of classes, mealtimes, wake-up calls, just about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And these soothing tones play through various speakers throughout Blackbrook, rather than the typical jangling bells in most schools.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a twofold concept, because Blackbrook's tone system will sound in different frequencies throughout the day to alert the students to different events. And sound frequencies play a very big role in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot more to say about this, and soon.
And it's fascinating. Truly.
It is.
Something else that fascinated me is I think I had the same eraser. I think they pan out from the girls' dorm and there's an eraser that's in a rainbow heart that says love on it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had that eraser in the 90s.
Oh, man.
Do you remember when you trade erasers with people? Was that my thing?
I don't know that I did
Really?
that. Yeah.
Like the little like trendy erasers? They'd be
I didn't
different.
have anything fun. I just had
Man.
the pink bubblegum looking erasers that you just stick on
I
the
had
end of
those
it.
too, but you'd get those little like fun erasers and then people would have like a soccer ball or something you trade with somebody else.
I remember always loving the like holiday themed erasers, the little
Mhm.
jack-o'-lanterns and stuff that you put on
Yeah.
the end of your pencil, or like
Yeah.
Christmas trees, ghosts.
Yeah.
Those were so fun. I forgot
I
about
still
those.
have those, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and speaking of old school days, if I remember correctly, my school used a tone system. I don't remember
Not
when
bells?
they I don't think so. I really don't remember. I remember there being speakers because it was like a PA
Announcements
based.
and sure,
tone
always,
system,
right? You'd need
So
that.
we had, morning announcements. The front office could call students out of class, all kinds of stuff. And I want to say, they used the tone.
Maybe your mind has been responding to this subconsciously for a while.
Ooh, the frequency.
I just got to
It's controlling.
we got to hang out and I got to play you a bunch of different tones.
We're gonna crack the code.
Do you feel like you need to eat lunch now?
Oh man, always. I always feel like that. But this got me super curious about tone systems. And apparently, schools started wiring their classrooms for the automated integrated tone systems back in the 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
I really wouldn't have guessed it would go back that far. I thought
That
maybe
makes sense.
90s or 2000s at the earliest. But
I thought a couple times in this
1960s.
episode of Grease, because they make a big deal of the PA in the office and the xylophone, chimes to indicate that was such a thing. That was such an era. But of course, Grease was made in the 70s, about the 50s. So
I'm just thinking of Hocus Pocus now.
Mm.
In schools that opted for the tone systems, were able to transmit digital bell sounds, electronic buzzers, and other tones. But nowadays, many schools are opting for alternatives to the school bell or buzzing simply for the mental health benefits, choosing music or other calming tones instead.
I like the idea of music.
I do
That's pretty
too.
cool.
I
Yeah.
like that a lot. So, Mr. Taylor is definitely onto something with his soothing tones and all, but for very different reasons, as the Wilson kids soon find out.
Mm.
Because Augie's watch alarm begins to beep, and Mr. Taylor has, by definition, a conniption fit. He covers his ears and cries out in pain until Augie turns off his watch alarm. Man, remember digital watches?
I do. Mine
Do
had a
people
calculator.
still wear those?
I highly doubt it. We've got Apple Watches now, but mine, I had a
Yeah,
blue one, like a translucent blue watch that had a calculator with it.
That's cool.
I loved my watch.
I always had, different fun colored ones. I feel like there was a brand that came out with a bunch of different colors and everybody had one at one time.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what that is, tell me, because it's just like this vague memory. But if you still wear a digital watch out there, send us an email. That's prettydarkpodcast@gmail.com. I really want to know, does it glow in the dark?
You're trying to do a survey. You're trying to survey the general millennial population to find out who has
who still wears
I asked
these?
you the Apple Watch. I don't wear those. I only wear a digital.
Somebody
digital
out
watch.
there does that. Yeah. I mean, is it waterproof?
Does it have the off-roading? You know what I'm talking about? Like the it's not a case even. It's just the casing on the watch.
The roll cage on the watch.
Or the roll cage, yeah.
I don't know. How deep can you go underwater and it still tell time?
Yep, that's the question.
That's what I want to know.
Can you tell time at
At the
10
bottom
feet
of a pool.
underwater?
Yeah.
8-foot depth? Can you tell time?
So while their parents are busy finalizing details with Mr. Taylor, presumably, Augie and Jazz talk in the hallway alone. Augie subscribes to the philosophy that they should accept the circumstances they can't change, but Jazz refuses to accept circumstances that she didn't choose. And technically, they're both correct.
Mm-hmm. Fully.
They're just approaching this major life change from opposite directions because they're two completely different people, as often happens with siblings. And, like siblings, they're ruthless in their fighting. She makes fun of him for being a nerd and says he was probably adopted, which, why is that an insult?
That's always
I don't
the
really
insult.
understand.
Yeah.
And he dismisses her concerns because she's prone to overreactions, calling her crazy.
Doesn't really fit, just to say, with her personality. She seems very calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah,
she
she
does not
seems pretty
seem
chill
like the
about
type to be
stuff,
prone to
yeah.
overreacting to anything. So that to me felt more misogynistic than anything. We're going to assign that to the sister. We're going to assign that to the female character.
Yeah, I felt that way too. I don't know. Maybe he said she makes a big stink about stuff all the time, so maybe she just likes to argue. I think she just likes.
She probably does like
she
to
likes
argue.
drama. I think
but
she likes drama.
sometimes she knows what she's talking about.
But no, I mean, as we learned, she absolutely 100% knows what she's talking about.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, we don't need to be calling her crazy.
Agreed.
It's not fair.
Agreed.
But it's also not insulting to be a nerd or be adopted. So just throwing that out there as well.
Right. We could have just talked to these kids at the time.
Could have just helped
None
them
of these
understand.
are insults. Everything's fine.
And like siblings, they don't actually hate each other either. And that's good because if they're going to survive the Blackbrook boarding school, they're going to need each other. And I think that could be said of just about any boarding school that's ever existed.
Sure.
Because I also got real curious about boarding schools this week. And despite how common they are, apparently they're not the kind of place where anybody has ever wanted to grow up.
Getting sent away to boarding school is a threat. I just rewatched It Takes Two, the Mary Kate and Ashley movie from 1995. The threat from the would-be stepmother is, I'm going to send you off to boarding school. I'm going to ship you away as soon as I possibly can.
That would have stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah, sure.
That would have shut me up real fast.
Sure.
I think we all have a pretty good idea of what a boarding school is. It's where students typically go and live at the school for the duration of the school year. There are all kinds of boarding schools across the world, even in the US, but they're far less common than, say, in the UK or India or China for that matter. So, like you said earlier, when we think of boarding schools, we think of Hogwarts. I think of other horror media because they're horrifying places to grow up. Some boarding schools exist to separate certain kids from others, whether it be for social, religious, or even political reasons. Maybe you're a troubled teen who's sent to a military school or a behavior modification program.
Yeah.
That
and to me,
pretends to be a school.
Yeah, to me, that's a completely different genre. That's a completely different issue. Go back to our Holes episodes if you want to deep dive.
But categorically, it fits within the diagram.
You're sent somewhere else to live, basically.
Maybe you have a physical or mental disability. Maybe you're just an orphan with nowhere to go. I feel like I heard this before, but I didn't fully realize it until now. But many US and Canadian boarding schools originally served the purpose of forced assimilation of Native American children.
Makes sense. Especially I've heard that about Canadian boarding schools.
To indoctrinate them into Western culture, white Western culture. Which either didn't work in some cases or had devastating consequences in others.
I'm sure it had devastating consequences across the board.
Yeah. It didn't work, but it was also devastating at the same time. Yeah, it was both. In some impoverished regions, boarding schools are the only education available, whereas in places like England, boarding schools are considered the most privileged education options.
Yeah, elite,
examples being Eton and Winchester. Yes, elite boarding schools. That's the word. All this to say, they each have their own agenda. But the thing most boarding schools have in common is the sociological and psychological issues resulting from what's known as total institution, which is exactly what it sounds like. Children developing totally within institutionalized environments.
You are institutionalized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Teacher and researcher Peter Cookson has written a number of books about children's education in general, as well as one book focusing on America's elite boarding schools called Preparing for Power, in which he concentrates on how elitism and upper-class social hierarchies have long-term effects in the political and financial spheres due to the formation of lifelong bonds between these students, known as the Old Boy Network.
Ooh.
Which Wikipedia describes as an informal system in which wealthy men with similar social or education backgrounds help each other in business or personal matters.
I know a whole lot about that.
So to give us a timely example, things like old boys networks are the reason why we still don't have the Epstein files.
I mean, truly, that's a great example of a current modern day old boys network working
relevant example.
Exactly as it was designed to function.
Yes, yes. And if we ever do see them, they will never be unredacted because these men are protecting each other. Yes. And to not do that is to break the code, and they will destroy you if you break that code.
Yeah.
That's how this type of deep structure socialization works, because these boys are educated and socialized in these schools to believe that they're meant to control society, leaving them with strong senses of entitlement and the inability to hear the word no. But deep structure socialization of control and hierarchy has other negative effects as well, including the stratification of both social and gender roles. Because while the boys are all forming cliques based on wealth and social background and deciding which of them is going to rule the world, the girls are socialized to choose partners based on wealth and social background.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, like that's the only option that these girls have, because those boys who grow up to rule the world still don't want to play with girls because they don't want to share power with women.
It's college, but I often heard getting your MRS degree at school,
MRS is?
Mrs.
Oh, that went right over my head.
You gonna get your MRS degree?
Gonna get your MRS? Wow, yes. Sad but true.
Yeah, it's not about the education. It's about what can come from that, the connections, the social connections, and that's working on both sides or all sides, really, not both of the gender spectrum.
Literally, this is where the phrase "it's not what you know, it's who you know" comes from. Like this is it.
Of course, granted, the school in the episode that we're talking about is co-ed, so that's already a little bit progressive in terms of what could befall you at a boarding school, But a lot of boarding schools are gender specific, and I can only imagine the trauma that inflicts on like gender non-conforming folks, as they're growing up and learning, and they're placed in an environment that they feel completely is not, aligned with who they are as people. But it goes really far in terms of the ability to socialize with different genders. Like genders outside of yourself, and the way that you view other genders, like if you're growing up in a boys' school, you're growing up around only men and boys, really, for the most part, and your socialization with women or girls is so specific and controlled, and the rest of the 90% of the time that you're not actually interacting with the other opposite sexes or whatever, any other gender, you are thinking about what it's like to do that and imagining it in your head, and you're creating this reality in your head that doesn't necessarily match reality in life. And thinking back, like, granted, as millennials, I don't know how common boarding schools were for us as millennials, but probably it's been more common throughout history, and they may be less common now. I would guess that's like a gradient, right? Where they're not as common now as they once were in most cultures. And I feel like if you look back
maybe
at
just
that,
US culture.
Maybe just Western, yeah. But if you look back at that and imagine how many decades of people were growing up in these environments and these institutions, it says a lot as to how a man in his 60s today might view women, because in his most formative years, he wasn't socialized with girls or women.
Right.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's super interesting to me, like from a sociological perspective.
Oh, it's not just women. It's people of other races. It's people of lesser social classes.
Absolutely.
They don't want to just not...
comes from this place too.
They don't want to just not share power with women. They don't want to share power with anybody who isn't like them. Who is less than them.
Yep.
And I'm going to be honest with you.
These
that's
are
99%
these like super insulated, homogenous groups that are already coming from a place of generational wealth. So that, I mean, like from that perspective, from that direction, it's so dangerous.
It's terrible. Yeah.
For everybody else.
That's how certain people get in office who are not qualified for the role.
Certain people.
Because it was about who they knew, not what they knew. Most of American politics.
Sure. Yeah, it's not any one office. It's many.
Most seats or chairs.
Many of them.
So, I don't know. You might be thinking, wow, that puts a lot of pressure on the students at boarding schools since their social rank in life is decided before they're 18. Yep. Lots of hyper competitiveness and depression, lots of alcohol and drug abuse, not to mention vicious bullying, suicide attempts, and basically every way teenagers cry for help when they're not allowed to ask for it.
Do you have any statistics on like the rates of things like that in boarding school versus like public school, normal public school?
No, I didn't look into that necessarily. I mean, obviously that stuff still happens in other schools. It happened at my private
yeah, I mean, yeah, this is a part of growing up.
It's not unique to boarding schools. It's just a way more isolated, concentrated version of it, because you don't get to go home at the end of the day.
You don't go home, you don't detox. There's nothing. It's that constant loop of that
you don't
social
get to go
integration.
talk to your parents about it and get any
your perspective
feedback.
isn't altered at all.
Yeah, you're stuck with the same boys that have been treating you like shit, or girls that have been treating you like shit, or the staff that's been treating you like shit for months on end.
Months.
And there's no escape. So mental health deteriorates. But psychological issues are actually far more prevalent across all boarding schools than the sociological repercussions of the prep schools. Many kids at boarding schools experience social detachment, emotional abandonment, homesickness. I've always gotten really bad homesickness.
Same.
I
Me
can't
too.
imagine. A lot of young kids suffer from maternal deprivation, which can lead to serious mental health and behavioral issues. Many kids of all ages suffer from displacement, which has lasting negative effects on their social, psychological, and emotional development, leading to despair, apathy, and other social deficits. Some studies have shown that boarding school separation can manifest the same symptoms as child neglect and emotional abuse,
Wow.
leading one
It makes
psychotherapist
sense.
named Joy Shavarian to do her own research and coin the term boarding school syndrome.
Children sent away to school at an early age suffer the sudden and often irrevocable loss of their primary attachments. For many, this constitutes a significant trauma. Bullying and sexual abuse by staff or other children may follow, and so new attachment figures may become unsafe. In order to adapt to the system, a defensive and protective encapsulation of the self may be acquired. The true identity of the person then remains hidden. This pattern distorts intimate relationships and may continue into adult life.
So
Wow.
yeah, you're talking about like the man in his 60s, how does he view women because of how he
Right.
was socialized as a child.
Yeah, totally. It
Yeah,
is
it
that like
distorts your
it's
view
encapsulated.
of
It's here in this
reality.
moment, right? And you carry that with you throughout life. We talk about that so frequently on the show, that like moment in adolescence when you realize that like this shit matters. This stuff, everything I'm going through right now, I'm taking with me. You can feel yourself doing it as a kid, you know?
Yeah. Mhm.
And you have those moments of transition. You have those moments of, okay, like this is who I'm gonna be. Like I'm moving forward into some new territory, new place. Like I'm learning new things, whatever. Like you have those moments, but it is without a doubt true that the social and emotional bonds and patterns that you have at that age are going to affect you later in
Mhm.
life. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
there's just no way around it.
So if you're thinking about sending your kid to a boarding school, even if it's just for 6 months while you travel for work, maybe think again.
Man, I was just going to
'Cause-
say, like, I didn't expect to come into this episode, like, you know, denouncing boarding school as a concept. I'm sure, like, I always felt, granted, this is my perspective as a homeschooled kid.
Yeah.
I always felt like kids in boarding school had, you know, more independence and autonomy and like freedoms that I didn't have or like hadn't developed. And so I was looking at it, you know, with the grass is greener kind of mentality.
The grass is always greener. Yeah.
Sure.
I really didn't
And there are valuable
think-
skills that you gain. Like that's one of the reasons that I'm such a proponent for summer camp is like that is a microdose. That's like a small
Yeah,
amount of
but
this
that's so
independence.
different. It's so
It's
different.
very different. It's very, very different. But you know, the idea that you're getting this autonomy and independence, and there are some kids that thrive with the opportunity to develop that. Like I truly believe, I'm not saying really like, you know, there's a definite answer on either side, but I think the personality of a child matters so much in that circumstance. And I think that certain kids and I like can thrive in certain places, like the ideas that the kids have about what that's doing for them.
I don't know. I think it just
You know?
becomes Lord of the Flies either way. Like I think
Fair.
it becomes survival of the fittest and
Fair.
dog eat dog, and it becomes a competition. I really think that that's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah. Regardless of, where you are or
No
what's
matter how
happening.
positive it is when it
Mhm.
begins, eventually it's
Yeah.
going to devolve into the most
Without
basest
that,
human natures, I
that
think.
genuine, true, like adult guidance, whether that comes from a parent or counselors,
Right,
or
right.
if that is not overseen in like the right way, if that's not guided in the right way, there needs to be that. Again, we talk about it constantly, the balance between what is like what you're able to take on as autonomy as a child, like what is actually beneficial for you and what is harmful for you at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know. So you think that there can be staff at schools like this that put the kids first?
I think it's possible. I don't think it's common.
I just
don't think
have
it's common
such a
because
negative view.
I'm right there with you because
I'm like,
then
I
we're
don't
looking at a
I don't
society.
trust any of them.
Sure, there's a society and the societal, like, I mean, I've had teachers that I've loved, you know what I mean? I'm sure you had teachers that you loved too.
Yeah.
Like, there are adults that are truly compassionate that care about kids, but there have to be more of those than there are of people that don't, or at the very least, people that aren't completely apathetic to their job that they're, you know, surviving capitalism with, or, you know, like, it's just so difficult. And as a parent, like, can you entrust the development of your child Like, who can you entrust that to?
I think it's a lot of willful, ignorance and like,
and at
I'm
this
going to
point, all I
forget
can
what happened to
say-
me when I was at boarding school and just
Right.
assume that's not going to happen to my kid. Like,
Right.
What?
And that's tricky. That's a slippery slope. Like,
Yeah.
either way, that could be a slippery slope. Like, I'm fine. Nothing happened to me. I'm totally okay. Nothing turned out bad for me. Well, you've got, the 50-yard stare, and like there was lead paint on the walls of your boarding school, and it's all relative. But I do think that, as we say often, again, like the one compassionate person matters. The one person that is instilling any kind of like, that's looking at the kids, seeing them for who they are, that there's any kind of individuation or personality, any kind of recognition of their individual autonomy, like that's going to be leaps and bounds,
Right. If you have that, it can be positive.
Right.
If
it's going to be good for their growth. But I think that takes like truly understanding like the psyche of an individual child. And how often does that get to happen? Like, when are parents at the like in this case, parents are dropping kids off at school because they're going, they have a work obligation or whatever. Like, how often does circumstance allow us to consider the psyche of an individual child and make the best choice for that child? And I would argue probably not nearly as often as it should.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, even if the other students aren't plotting to take over the world, that doesn't mean the staff isn't.
Sure.
As we see in this episode.
As we see.
Well, getting back to it. Augie agrees to write once a week. Jazz is forced to wear the lame uniforms, and their parents drive off, leaving them to fend for themselves at Blackbrook Boarding School.
For a very comforting mom, she sure just jumps in the car. She's
All
like,
right, bye
see ya.
now.
Bye.
Good
comfort
luck.
Everybody but you.
Hope you're still
So
alive
long.
in 6 months when we come back for you. Luckily, as David's voiceover explains, the other students are pretty cool and seem to like the place. So the Wilson kids do their best to relax and fit in. But still, there was something off about the school, especially its very strange rules revolving around sound. One kid gets his Game Boy taken away by a hysterical Mr. Taylor, and then Augie's new friend Kit gives him a grave warning one night that if anybody finds out he has a Walkman, he'll get in serious trouble.
I was already done. At that moment, I was like, you can't listen to
No
music on
music?
school grounds. That I'm done. I'm going to run away. Like, I would rather run away than not listen to music.
Yeah, but see, it disrupts the learning process.
Sounding an awful lot like a propaganda process to me. If you're not going to let me listen to my Avril Lavigne, if I'm at this boarding, so long.
Where's
See
my
you
Sum
later.
41? How am I going to survive this? What are you
If I
doing
can't
to
have
me?
my Simple Plan, then I'm not going to make it. Simple Plan and my MP3 player, my Hillary Duff, even Metamorphosis. She's making a comeback, folks. She's having a moment.
She is. People can't believe her lyrics.
God, Fly, like her performing Fly on stage in 2026 means more to me than I can explain. But having those discs in my portable CD player, that is what made 8th grade okay for me.
Mm-hmm.
To be told to have that ripped from me at a boarding school, I'm absolutely out. There is no way you can make me compliant at that point. I'm not a bad kid. I tend to follow orders. I tend to follow rules. I don't want to get in trouble, but like I wouldn't be able to function at that age without some sort of outlet, without some sort of connection to who I am, my former self, my former life.
Yeah. You got to hold on to your identity or you're going to lose it,
Exactly.
I mean, Kit says it's bogus that it disrupts the learning process, and he's correct.
Sure, he doesn't buy in.
Because music education is actually linked to much higher academic achievement than kids who don't study music.
Yeah,
So
totally.
You're onto something.
Studying music, being exposed to music, listening, it's good for patients in like nursing homes even.
Yeah. It's good
like
for everybody.
exposure. Like I used to do, so we would do little like talent shows and things. We would go play like bingo, play games with residents in nursing homes to volunteer when I was in high school. And we also would do like, I had friends who had like voice recitals at a nursing home where it's just exposing people to music, exposing people to the arts. It's always going to be better.
No, it
for
is.
your mental health.
People in, critical condition, they heal faster.
Yeah.
They're listening to music, And so you can reach people in comas like that too. Play, hey, look at,
running up that hill.
Yeah, look at the most
running
recent
up that building.
Stranger Things season.
I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
Constantly playing that music for Max. But I also love how Kit says, you know,
If you're gonna listen,
be
cool about
be
it.
cool about it. Kit's played by Justin Borntrager, who comes back as Brian in The Tale of the Quiet Librarian in season 4. I just really like his voice.
Yeah.
I think he could have been a voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid with the Game Boy's name is Willie. And it's such a small non-speaking part that I almost passed it over. But Willie's actor is named Kenny Vedas, who played Dwayne in one of my favorite Goosebumps episodes, The Headless Ghost.
Man, there's a lot of Goosebumps crossover today.
There are. But he also played the leader of the Elves in the Santa Claus. You know that tactical team?
Yeah.
The cool teenage boy, like badass group of like SWAT elves?
Yeah.
He was the leader, the lead one.
Not Bernard.
Not Bernard, no.
Not Bernard. Okay. Just confirming.
The leader of the elves.
Yeah.
The tactical SWAT, cool teenage boy elves.
The ones you wanted to be.
That break him out of prison, toward the end.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're talking about how if they had taken away your CD player, you would have lost your identity and crumbled
completely.
into a puddle of green slime. But it just makes me think of all the stuff that my school wouldn't let us have during school hours. I couldn't have CD player. We couldn't have yo-yos. We talked about those are banned.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't have Game Boys.
Yeah. During school hours, okay, but if you're a boarding school, all hours are school hours. So that's what I'm
true.
saying. There has to be a distinction between school time and leisure time. Like there has to.
Yeah.
To me, that is what would be the detriment, is that you
you're
don't
right.
get a break from that. Like you said, you can't go home to your parents. You can't have the other perspective. If you can't even have music or like exposure to other stimuli, that's brainwashing.
No, yeah,
At that
for sure.
point.
For sure. I don't know. Maybe I do feel like I was brainwashed for most of my upbringing, my education at my school. But, banning technology from school isn't all that strange to me.
Yeah.
What gives me the ick is what's for dessert.
Sponge? Like what you clean with?
No, sponge with the U. It's great. Try it.
Sponge.
Yes, the students of Blackbrook Boarding School are served the same mysterious dessert every night at dinner. It's a pasty white grain meal that has the consistency of grits, and although Kit says it's really good, the Wilsons refuse to try it.
Don't blame them.
And it's super important that Jazz and Augie never do try the sponge, because, spoiler, sponge isn't a grain meal.
Mm-mm.
It's some kind of alien mind control goop that
Something
works in
else.
tandem with the tone system sound frequencies to program the Blackbrook students into doing the evil Taylor's bidding by turning them into mindless zombies.
So don't eat the sponge. This weird random dessert that you're offered. Don't eat it. Never.
Mm-mm. Because for the zombie frequency to work, the sponge must first be ingested. And this got me really excited about looking into the potential for sound frequency as a method of mind control.
I would love to hear more about this, because I often run across the brown noise or the for ADHD hacks, which I can't say it doesn't work. Like the idea that you can listen to this frequency that's going to make you more productive, more tuned in to what you need to be focused on or whatever.
Right.
Very interested.
Yeah, I've used brown noise before. I think it's been pretty effective.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. You've listened to one file that's brown noise versus this video that's brown noise. They sound different.
They sound completely different.
So it's less about the way it sounds, and it has to be more about the frequency. But,
Yeah.
I haven't looked into the frequency of the accurate brown noise, but I'm sure that's a thing. Because although mind control using sound is only possible in science fiction, Ultrahuman.com says that there have been successful studies into how sound frequencies can influence brainwave patterns. The basis for these studies is what's called neurofeedback, because at the center of this process are neurons, which interact with each other to coordinate behavior, emotions, and thought through electrical activity, which can be measured using electroencephalography, or EEG. And when this neural activity is recorded, it's mapped as brain waves. And brain waves are categorized by frequency, measured in hertz. So once we learned that different types of brain activity had their own frequencies, for example, alpha is 8 to 12 hertz, beta is 13 to 38 hertz, people started wondering whether or not we could affect brain activity by exposing it to external frequencies. And the simple answer is yes. While sound frequencies cannot directly control brain activity, they can influence neural activity, which is what makes up our various mental states.
Sure.
And this is a process called neurosound. I want to add here that this same thing can also be accomplished visually, which is something I'm sure we'll come across if we ever deep dive hypnosis.
Right, sure.
But for now.
Neurosound refers to using sound specifically, including music, binaural beats, or affirmations to influence brainwave activity. While this field is relatively new in modern neuroscience, the concept of using sound and rhythm for mental and physical well-being is not. Practices such as Native American drumming or Gregorian chants reflect a long-standing belief that rhythm and vibration can alter states of mind. Neurosound builds on this tradition with modern tools and brainwave data to explore how specific frequencies might entertain certain mental states.
The most fascinating method to me is the binaural beats. Have we talked about these before?
I don't think so, but I'm totally like a believer and proponent of all of this. Like I think we talked a little bit about it in Dark Music.
I think we've touched on it, yeah.
But anytime that and I said it earlier tonight, like anytime that we can rely on music to like change or alter our mental state is some degree of this. Like it's somewhere on the spectrum of neuroscience, honestly.
Oh, I think it is. Binaural beats is where two different frequencies are played in each ear, which creates an auditory illusion and tricks the brain into thinking it's listening to a third phantom tone at a much lower frequency. It's crazy how this works. Essentially, your brain is only going to hear the number of cycles between the two frequencies. So like if there's a 10 hertz difference between them, the phantom frequency that your brain creates is going to be 10 hertz.
Wow.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
I tried this week. I actively
You did experiments.
looked into this. I experimented with it. I listened to these frequencies, like the binaural beats frequencies, while doing this research and writing the script. And I felt different. I literally the first time I did it, I felt nauseous.
Whoa.
So I didn't quite ease into it. You're supposed to you're supposed to almost meditate with it and get into the mindset, let your brain ease into it. But I turned stuff on and went right into working, and I just felt kind of dizzy. But then I did it again differently the next day, and I went from being very tired, having difficulty focusing, to pretty sharp focus. And then I said, okay, I feel pretty good. I'm going to turn my 90s music back on to get back into the correct mood for this research, and immediately began yawning again. Went back to being tired, and it was a noticeable shift. And I was
Interesting.
Whoa, dude. So that's crazy. And I don't really know how to make it work because you're not supposed to listen to it long term.
Damn, I was going to say, you found our new trick. You found our new method.
I mean, I don't know. It seemed to be pretty effective, and I'm sure it's something you can sort of train your mind to get used to.
Feel out and
Yeah. But Spotify has a few different binaural beats playlists at different frequencies for specific purposes. So I tried the focus one, which was the alpha, which is calm focus. And then I tried the study one they have that's called study. That's for beta frequency, which is supposed
I've heard
to
of
be
that one.
hyper concentration, alert thinking, critical thinking.
Wow.
And then they have the ones for sleep, which are going to be your deltas or thetas or something on the lower end.
Yeah.
Which I want to try those and help myself relax. Just goddamn, if I could just relax a little bit.
You just see what it feels like.
I might actually be able to get some sleep and rest. But I tried it. I thought it was pretty effective. Give it a shot. See how it works.
Write in, let us know, please.
Some researchers think neurosound can be used clinically for the production of neurotransmitters. For instance, 10 hertz stimulation, which is in the alpha zone, was linked to increased serotonin, while 4 hertz stimulation was associated with catecholamines involved in attention and memory. Which is huge if this is true, because that would mean that neurosound could be used to treat things like cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, dementia, ADHD, anything like that.
Yeah. Wow.
And for those who want to experiment with neurosound but don't want to just listen to, rhythmic drumming, chants, beats, tones, auras, or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it does sound like space music, but there is hope. Because most Western music is tuned based on a 440 hertz reference.
Yes.
But more and more artists are now producing music that's tuned at 432 hertz because of its supposed mental health benefits.
Interesting.
Even Calm.com says 432 music reduces stress and anxiety, enhances mental clarity, promotes healing and pain relief, improves sleep quality, and supports physical and mental energy levels.
Well, when's that going to be a genre on Spotify I can click?
You're in luck.
Is there
There's a 432 hertz playlist on Spotify. Frequency of the Universe, it's called.
Whoa. I do tend to listen to lo-fi music when I'm writing primarily. Like that's kind of where I go. And I think that there's some truth to it because I will typically be a lot more focused if I have something like that playing versus if it's just like ambient room sound, like if I'm not like, I don't know what it is, but oftentimes when I turn on that music, it's when my focus kicks in.
It's wild. I do the same thing.
Wonder how many hertz.
Now, sure, some sound frequency conspiracy theorists continue to spread misinformation that low frequencies can be used to induce anxiety, paranoia, and even hallucinations.
I've heard that also.
It's not true. In fact, low frequencies are typically linked to relaxation, meditation, and sleep, except when they're played at a high intensity, like with military-grade acoustic weaponry, which can cause disorientation and nausea. But then again, any frequency that transmits at a high intensity or a high pitch or high decibel level is going to do some serious damage.
That's that thing they had going after L. Yeah.
I did think of that. That
was making L's powers.
That's probably what it was. Because, that kind of thing might be, they're referred to as, like, one example of that is a sound cannon.
Yeah.
That just shoots a super, like, high decibel,
concentrated,
high frequency amount. At the enemy to incapacitate them. So I think what they used was a type of sound cannon that would have, with the frequencies in her head, to
prevent her from thinking the right thoughts and being in the right headspace to produce the result.
Right.
Like
which is, relevant because these things are also used for like crowd control and riots and stuff.
Oh boy, you guys got your whistles.
But, in reality, there's really no chance of sound frequency being used to turn humans into zombies. But within the Are You Afraid of the Dark universe, in this particular scenario,
anything is possible.
Combined with Spunge, it's not only possible, but it's already happening. So when Jazz pretends to be a robot and jokes with her brother about her programming, the only reason it's funny is because she doesn't know how deep the truth goes.
She has no idea yet.
Until one night. The night that everything goes down.
Things took a strange turn.
The Wilson kids awaken in their respective dormitories to a droning sound coming from the tone system. All the other kids climb out of their beds and begin sleepwalking single file out of their rooms and down the halls, making their way through the dark bowels of the school.
Every angle is a Dutch angle. Like every angle is
so
a Dutch angle. All the
so
shadows,
Dutch.
Just this distance and like the different planes that they're creating with the shadow. Like they don't do this often. I think it was Whispering Walls when I was last like, wow, like they're using so much shadow in this. And they really, they did a really good job of that this time too.
Really went for it, yeah.
Augie, wake up. Don't scare me like that.
Jazz and Augie have no idea what's going on, but they follow their schoolmates anyway, and thankfully find each other in the hall where they regroup. And although Augie wants to wake the Taylors and stay out of trouble, Jazz decides that they should instead figure out what's going on.
I'm Jazz as an adult. I just wish I had been Jazz as a kid. I was totally Augie as a kid.
Augie is smart and all, but he'd be toast without Jazz. Mm-hmm. So would the rest of us.
Eggs on toast.
Hey.
Egg toast.
That's funny. That's
egg
good.
Toast.
Eggs.
That's funny. Eggs.
So they follow the kids down the stairs and into the basement of the school, which is all aglow with a mysterious green light amidst the pipes and the containment system for water, as Augie describes it. And this is where it became really convenient that this filming location was a water purification plant.
Right.
Because this episode called for a heck of a lot of water for a very specific purpose.
So much. And it didn't look like a high school gym or a pool like some of the other episodes we've covered.
Right. It was very
Not at
unique.
all.
It was very different.
Yeah.
It's very cool looking,
Yeah.
very industrial. And I can only assume that this is where the water purification process would have begun inside the plant. Because according to the Atlas Scientific website, the first step of water purification is the coagulation and flocculation process, which is when chemicals are added to the raw water to bind the suspended particles and impurities, allowing them to form larger clumps called flocks.
You don't say.
Elementary stuff. Next comes sedimentation, where the water is left undisturbed for a certain period, allowing the flocks to settle at the bottom of the tanks, separating the solid impurities from the water. And then the water would then be moved through the filtration process and then to disinfection, etc., etc.
All that I can
Stuff
think
that
as you're
everybody knows
saying
about.
all of this is that I just desperately need to get a whole house filter. Like, just where I live, the water is so hard and it is awful and terrible, and the sediment and just everything.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
All I can hear is just filter your water.
Filter your
Do
water,
something
filter
about
your
it.
water,
Your
filter.
water needs to be softened. This is a problem.
You can never have too many filters for your water.
Yeah, never.
It's never as safe as you think it is. Though we
Never.
should not be removing the fluoride from
No,
the
no.
water.
Yeah,
Let
no.
me say
Fluoride
that out
is
loud.
fine. Fluoride is just fine.
Oh my God, they need to stop taking fluoride out of water.
We need it, in fact, yeah.
We really, really do.
Both of us with our English descent say, protect
My
your teeth.
My teeth are... Anyway, but
Protect your teeth.
it does other things too that I can't recall right now in the moment, but I did read about it fairly recently because, cities are removing it from their water purification process, and that is
We're looking at
horrifying.
you, Florida.
But within the context of this story, this is an egg incubation chamber. The kids are activated in the night as mindless zombie slaves to care for dozens, if not hundreds, of alien eggs, which are floating in the stagnant waters of the school's basement.
Yeah.
And their roles are all assumed without explanation. Some, like Kit, stand at these monitoring stations to maneuver strange levers and gauge the water conditions below. Others, like Marie, take scoops of some grainy substance like salt or sand and pour it into the water with the eggs.
Like they're feeding the growth process somehow.
I was going to say, yes, the general consensus online is that these kids are fertilizing the eggs.
Fertilizing.
As gross as that sounds.
Ugh.
But I think the purpose is far less pornographic. Like you said, they're feeding the eggs. I
Feeding.
think.
It felt more like, you're feeding a yeast, right? Like you have this,
yeah.
it needs a certain chemical compound. It needs a certain reaction to produce the effect, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything, all of the above, but I think maybe to fold the story back in on itself, I think it could be that this is the same gritty substance that's used to make sponge.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I thought the same thing. I wondered at first if it was sponge itself that was being fed to the eggs.
It's
And
just
if they're all
more
just consuming the same thing,
It's a
then they're gonna
sand-like substance, but if it
act
was
the
like a
same way.
grit, if it was like a ground-up meal type of thing that was then used to make the sponge,
a
it could
lot
just
can be said
all
for the
same
echo
thing.
chambers where the same people are consuming the same thing over and over and over, and it's producing the same result. I blew your mind there, didn't I?
Yeah. She's not talking about you, Darklings. She's talking about
No.
other people.
Yeah, not you guys.
We would never feed you the same slop
Oh, God.
week to week.
Mm-mm. If we ever do. If I ever become a pull string person. I've told you that before.
Yes,
my
we've talked
fear.
about pull string people quite a bit on the show.
It's just can't do it.
And right as Jazz discovers these eggs, the Taylors arrive for their survey of the evening. Mr. Taylor says, "Excellent."
Excellent.
And they find the Wilson kids to make sure they're fitting in. And this is where they reveal that it was indeed the sponge that made this level, this depth of absolute mind control possible. Mrs. Taylor expresses her doubts that they'd been eating it, prompting Mr. Taylor to say, "They all do. It's just too good to resist." And they laugh.
God.
Is sponge?
What is sponge?
They never tell us, and maybe it's for the best that they don't.
The assumption is that you, the child consuming it, are yourself a sponge.
Hey,
You're going to take whatever is force-fed to you by your cafeteria.
that's interesting. Hey, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say that it's, we don't know what it is, but it's obviously inspired by the 1985 sci-fi horror flick, The Stuff.
There it is. There it is.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think that this is sort of where the idea came from.
There are layers.
Yes, there are layers. This is an onion. And the stuff was written and directed by Larry Cohen, to quote Wikipedia, because it's just too good to resist. The film follows the discovery of a mysterious, sweet, and addictive substance becoming a popular dessert in the United States.
Yes.
But soon begins attacking people and turning them into zombies.
Yeah.
Cohen cited consumerism, unhealthy foods, and potentially hazardous products in his influences.
Amazing. Like, what a layer for this show to have, that it is an 80s kind of like horror social commentary moment. And then that social commentary is just never more relevant. Force
feeding obedience to these boarding school children like they're sponges. You're right.
Yeah. It's
Layers.
all the same thing. It's all the same thing.
Like
when are we going to wake up? When is society going to recognize it for what it is? How many people are going to have to make niche horror movies and kids horror anthologies before we're going to recognize the truth?
Forget drinking the Kool-Aid. Eating the sponge. But speaking of edible substances that are never fully explained, the Wilson kids follow the Taylors up to their quarters, where they unlock a hutch with two mysterious products inside. The first is a massive martini glass full of what I can only assume is sponge, which they both eat a celebratory spoonful of.
Lime green, though.
Yeah, and then the second is a bottle of green slime.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Which Mrs. Taylor pours into two smaller martini glasses.
That's the adult portion.
This is a couple of caustic cocktails, if you will.
Caustic cocktails. We're going all the way back to Cage Master.
And they toast to their troubled past and their glorious future, and to their master. Because during this moment, the Taylors have been talking about how their work is finally going to pay off. Because the incubation of the eggs is nearly complete. The master has been patient these 100 years, but soon they won't be alone any longer. And once that happens, Mr. Taylor says, they can shed these infernal trappings.
These guys are lizard people.
Yeah, I was going to say, by infernal trappings, he means his human skin suit.
Because he's not that. He's not a human.
He doesn't come by the human skin naturally.
No.
And he says this while digging his finger underneath his human skin glove to scratch his actual skin.
Lizard.
A green,
reptilian
scaly
skin.
Epidermis. Huge reveal here. This is massive. This is big stuff. Lizard people.
There's something more cold-blooded afoot.
That was good. What we're witnessing in this episode is a children's horror representation of the reptilian conspiracy theory. It's also another example of DJ McHale being tapped directly into the collective unconscious and knowing things he shouldn't know about. Because this theory wasn't popularized until 6 years later in 1999.
I have been dying for this.
When British conspiracy theorist David Icke published a book revealing the reptilian plot to take over the world and establish the New World Order. And that book was called The Biggest Secret.
God, I have been dying to hear the true history, because this is something that has floated around my knowledge and knowing for a long time, but not the sequence of events.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read The Biggest Secret, so I don't know that I'm going to give you all the sponge you want to eat right now.
You're supposed to be a scholar.
But the good news is you can go buy the book and read it if you want to.
I guess that's true.
He breaks it all down.
At any time.
Now, I've heard a lot about David Icke over the years because I'm a religious listener of the last podcast on the left. And by the way, I got to shout those boys out because they just landed that sweet Netflix podcast deal. Have you seen that?
God, I haven't, but that's amazing.
They are one of the featured podcasts that's streaming their episode videos now.
Wow, on Netflix.
To Netflix. Yep.
Good job.
Yeah, they've done really good. They're being really cool about it, but
Henry, Marcus.
I'm so proud of those boys.
You guys nailed it. Christian and I, Darklings wouldn't probably know. We may have talked about it at the time. Christian and I, one of the last times we ever did anything together for fun, just to do something fun, because we never do that anymore.
Show, yeah.
We went to their live show.
Back in New Orleans. What, 3 years ago?
Literally,
it was around
more than
Christmas.
More than that.
No, it was 2021, the year we started the podcast. Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit. 4 years ago. That's wild.
5 years ago now.
5?
26 will be
God.
5 years.
I can't count. I can't keep time. Anyway, so, the last podcast boys love talking about David Icke. And this is the first time
For
we've
good
had
reason.
the pleasure of dropping his name on That's Pretty Dark. And what David Icke revealed in his 1999 book was the biggest secret of them all. That blood-drinking, shape-shifting reptilian humanoids from the Alpha Draconis star system
There it is.
are the force behind a worldwide conspiracy against humanity.
Worldwide. This goes beyond our country. This goes beyond any kind of loyalty to any of your hometown lowdown conspiracy. This is worldwide.
This is bigger than your smallest town. Okay. So it's about time you get with it.
Man.
Majority of them live underground now, yes, but most of the world's ancient and modern leaders are related to these reptilians,
Yeah, that's what I hear.
including the Bush family and
They're
the
big in the game.
the British royal family.
Rather reptilian,
Reptilians.
from what I've heard.
No. There's no political affiliation, so basically anybody can be a reptilian. Chances are
ourselves.
that's not funny. That's not funny. This is serious stuff.
Why do you think I always have a heat lamp behind me?
Don't like it. I don't like it. I'm second guessing everything because this is real stuff and you're making jokes about it and it's upsetting.
Yeah, it's kind of dangerous, honestly.
You can't make this stuff up. You can't. All this is real. None of this is fake. Not a single bit of this is fake. So David Icke may be responsible for the widespread awareness of this silent invasion of our planet.
Awareness.
But he wasn't the first to get smart about reptilians.
No?
No, see, people have been reporting draconian encounters for decades before the 90s.
Wow.
For example, Herbert Schirmer, who you may have heard
Herbert
about.
Schirmer sounds
Herbert
like
Schirmer.
the kind of guy.
He's a police officer from Nebraska. He was abducted by reptilians in 1967.
Clearly, my people have been around for some time. Roaming the earth, scouting it out,
Pissing me off
scouring.
right now. I'm going to lose my shit
All we
right now.
need is a little bit of warmth, A little bit of warmth goes a long way.
That's true for everyone. Maybe reptilians are more human than I previously thought. Before the abduction started, was Maurice Doreal, who was the founder of the Brotherhood of the White Temple, okay? He visited the pyramids of Giza back in the 20s, and not only, it's the 1920s, not the 2020s.
Fair.
Not only did he discover the emerald tablets of the ancient Egyptian entity Thoth, but he also translated them to English. So I think he knew what he was talking about when he also wrote a pamphlet called Mysteries of the Gobi that revealed the truth behind a serpent race of humanoid creatures with bodies like men but heads like snakes.
Do you know what he was smoking?
If you tell me right now that you don't think this is true, we're gonna
Hey,
show's
I
over.
said I'm one of us.
Before that was the grandfather of all modern conceptions of reptilian existence, Robert E. Howard, who created Conan the Barbarian.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I wonder when we'd factor this in. Sure.
He published a novelette in 1929 called The Shadow Kingdom that told the truth about the Atlantean and Lemurian races of shape-shifting serpent men.
See, when were we headed to Atlantis? That's what I wanted to know, because it's all connected to that. There's this idea, humanity, for who knows how long, clearly the last 100 years, we've been fascinated by the idea that there's this land that is lost to time, which there are, by the way, countless lands lost to time. Countless peoples, countless indigenous peoples that have been just wiped off the face of the map at the hand of imperialism, colonialism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this isn't a new concept, by the way, but Western culture especially is fascinated by the idea that there's this lost land that has just disappeared from culture. It's been lost to time. And that is terribly interesting. I don't disagree. But the idea that there's this Atlantean race, there's
Lots of
this
mythology
race
coming
that is
from Atlantis.
beneath everything else. Exactly. It's mythology.
And Lemuria.
There are mergings of mythology and lore and legend and reality that we are wiping out peoples collectively.
I don't even want to, it's not even generational guilt. Like,
That's literally what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Is it? Like,
I don't know.
Is there just, I mean,
Are we
I'm not
making
going to
up
say
stories because we just can't let go of the fact
cope.
that maybe
that is
we do
something that I have
souls deep
long
down.
wondered and thought about, is the idea that there is this guilt just inherent in DNA, where we are wondering what is lost, what have we eclipsed, right? Like what is gone because of us. Culture is important. That shared identity. That's all anybody has at the end of the day. That's all we do have to mark our time on Earth. That signature. Like
just like losing the serpent men from. Actually, we didn't lose them.
All of that stemmed from all you had to say was Atlantis, and I was like, you know what? I'm sitting on a soapbox that I haven't been able to stand up on in quite some time.
Clean it. Suds it up.
It's dusted right off. I'm soapy now.
Yeah. So the serpent men of Atlantis or Lemuria, they've got human bodies, snake-like heads, and they live underground, but they could imitate humans at will and use their mind control.
Sorry, I gotta get back into character. I totally abandoned my reptilian state. I gotta find that again.
They can use their mind control powers to infiltrate humanity. So they survived the fall of Atlantis. I mean, they just went underground because the modern world, the other culture, the Western culture, the Western world, we just weren't ready for serpent people. So they just went into hiding.
They said, you know what? We're not going to inflict that upon you just yet.
Like, we're just going to hide out.
We're going to control things. We're going to take the reins.
But
we're going to have them down here.
Atlantis
underground
was like ancient Rome in Star Wars. Like it was like the apex of human existence. Like they had technology we can only dream of now.
Right.
All of our sci-fi dreams came from Atlantis because it existed at one point in time. I mean, all of that is really fascinating. They're just biding their time, waiting to climb back to the top.
Egyptian culture, just all of like the idea that there's nothing new under the sun. Like, we're kind of flipping 180 on the whole idea, but like a lot of people have existed before we currently do. And we are in the age of technology, like we are in the age of like everything being connected at, the click of a button, and it is different than we've ever known it to be, but societies have been societies for longer than we will ever be able to fathom. And the earth and animals and nature have been nature and animals for longer than that.
Nature be nature, and the real argument is nature versus nurture. You know what I'm saying? So can you change your reptilian by nurturing with love?
Can you warm your cold blood with compassion and empathy? Man, I feel like that got really fuzzy. Are you guys still with us? I'm not even sure I'm still with us. Man. Yeah, we haven't been this deep. We haven't had the Kool-Aid this dark in a long time. The sponge? Yeah, we haven't really been this deep in these theories in a while. But
tasty sponge. Did you see that? Jazz and Augie hurry back to their dorms to talk things through. And I love how they're like, but what are they? Are they aliens? I don't know. I don't care. This is such a big part of the argument regarding reptilians. Because if they're this ancient, Lemurian or Atlantean race, are they still from the Alpha Draconis star system?
Yeah, what's happening?
And if both of those things are true and they just came to Earth from that star system, now they live underground.
Tracking. How
are they abducting people in their UFOs in space?
Yeah, but
if they're on Earth,
if they're here already, but it's the mothership. It's their.
Are there still reptilians out there, or did they crash land here thousands of years ago?
Are they all here? Where?
Right. What's happening? Yeah. I mean, the real question is, which came first, reptilian or the egg?
Or the egg.
Once again, it's Jazz to the rescue. Because if it were up to Augie, the world would have fallen into the hands of the reptilians back in '93 while he hid under the covers.
Yeah.
Look, all you ever do is follow the rules. Well, the rules just went out of the window, pal. You talked me into staying here, and now you're gonna get us out. I am going to go get dressed. You get a grip.
Tell him, sis.
Hell yeah. Go Jazz, go.
And get a grip he does, because he quickly comes up with the clever idea to rewire one of the tone system speakers to his Walkman so he can play his music out loud. A little bit of acoustic weaponry, as it were. And I guess his plan is just to incapacitate the Taylors and the egg hatchlings, because he doesn't yet know what else lurks in the shadows of those dark basement tunnels. But when he goes to find Jazz, Mrs. Taylor has already captured her, giving us all a good scare when she opens the door. But they quickly escape, so I almost didn't even mention this part until I remembered how much I love that visual of the bite mark on her finger.
Oh, yeah.
The skin is broken, revealing the green scales underneath.
You should have eaten your sponge like all the others.
You're a monster.
Really? You haven't seen anything yet.
So they run from the Taylors, who are now onto them. And making their way back down to the basement, they decide to take a different path to hide from these reptilians, only to find themselves in the lair of an even worse monster.
Mm-hmm.
The tunnel is dark and wet, and there are items of clothing littered all over the floor. A creak and a bang later, and the Taylors have barred the gates to lock them inside.
Your children should have eaten your sponge.
Then at least you'd be ignorant to this terrible thing that's happening to you.
I mean, honestly, if the takeover happened, I'd be like, "Where's the sponge?
Yeah, right.
Give it to me right now. I want to eat it."
Hey, you really should have been on the different side of the algorithm. You really should have just accepted your fate. You really should have just licked the boot. You know what I'm saying?
What are you? The last of a race that was doomed to extinction. Until now.
We've nurtured the eggs for ages. Soon they'll hatch, and once again we can populate the earth.
Mm-hmm. And once they're hatched,
I was going to say
the children that they're using for their means
yes.
to feed and fertilize their eggs will serve another purpose.
Yeah, they plan to feed these kids to these hatchlings because the young ones will be very hungry.
The kids will feed the eggs, then the kids will feed the eggs.
Yep. That's pretty dark, huh?
That's pretty dark.
And as they speak, a green light begins glowing in the tunnel behind them, followed by a cloud of smoke and a growl.
We're trapped.
Very few children have caused problems the way you two have. But when they do, they always end up down here.
And I'm not going to really get into it, but there's like always, right, there's always a place at schools like this where the kids are put.
The bad kids go?
Always. There's
detention.
Always. No.
Hell's for children.
Worse. I mean,
I just saw Pat Benatar.
There's like another building on the grounds where the kids are put in. You know what I mean? Or there's like a room in the basement where the kids go. The chokey, right?
The chokey.
Miss Trunchbull's chokey. There's always a place like that at these schools in real life. And it scares me so much to think about.
Terrifying.
At this school, it's the basement tunnel.
You've stumbled on the lair of our master. And she hasn't eaten in days.
And this thing looks like if Bowser crawled on all fours.
I thought that too.
You know, like if Bowser were female.
If Bowser were a Mardi Gras float.
Yeah.
Is what's happening.
Yes. Mystics. You know, if Bowser were female, blind, and could be killed by high-frequency sound, which is where Augie's acoustic warfare comes in real handy. He takes the contraption from his bag and blares his rock and roll music as loud as he can, causing the reptilian monsters to literally explode into piles of green slime. Not to be nitpicky about it, but this technically wasn't high-frequency sound. High-frequency sound.
This is the place to nitpick.
Measures hertz in the thousands, typically 2,000 hertz and above. But as we learned earlier, the standard frequency for Western music is only 440 hertz. So really what kills reptilians is very high-pitched sounds, like beeping watches, school bells, and electric guitar.
Hey.
Rock and roll, man.
Eddie Munson. Where you at?
I mean, Kit did warn him to be cool about listening to music, and I think this is the coolest way he could have done that.
Agreed.
Yeah, Eddie Munson style.
I just saw Pat Benatar. I had no idea that her husband was like Spider, the guitarist that like tours with her, has been touring with her for like over 40 years.
Yeah.
He is like the defining, like the sound of 80s electric guitar is this guy. And he just performed, I was front row last night. He just performed in front of my face.
Yeah.
The guy that did the studio guitar for Jesse's Girl. Like that is the guy. Like that sound, that classic electric guitar sound. And it was really cool to me that she just like got out of his way sometimes and let him, just like.
Let him do his thing.
Yeah. And it like every breakdown because he defined it for a generation. He defined it for a genre. Like, it's incredible to me. That sound, that electric guitar, God. Every reptilian in a 50-mile radius was
Their heads
feeling
were
it. I can
exploding.
guarantee heads exploded.
Turns out, reptilians are a lot like vampires and other creatures because when you kill the mother, you also kill her babies because all the eggs have exploded. You also release all the boarding school students from their sound-induced trances.
The power of
them...
one Walkman.
Yeah.
One singular contraband Walkman.
And I guess the kids were all in the process of carrying the eggs from one location to another because the eggs are all like broken all over the floor with the puddles of green liquid covering everything. Yeah,
the hatching. It's called the hatching for a reason, I guess. Yeah. The hatching was in progress.
The hatching was the death of the reptilians. It hatched.
Pop goes the lizard.
That's right.
And its offspring.
But DJ, bless him, he left us with one final Easter egg. Reptilian egg. That didn't quite get the memo that it was supposed to explode. It's merely cracked. And as the students all leave the basement, this egg begins to move.
Twitching.
Prompting David to end his tale with the end. Or is it?
Where is it?
And back around the campfire, Gary declares this meeting of the Midnight Society closed. And he urges them all to go straight home. Because it's a school night.
The dread of a school night.
Oh
you
my
know?
God.
You
It
feel that
always
in the
feels
pit
like
of
a
your
school
stomach?
night.
It always feels like this era of American history is one big long school night with no Saturday morning cartoon in sight.
Oh my God, I need them.
You know?
I need them. I need those Saturday morning cartoons.
Me too.
Luckily, you guys have That's Pretty Dark podcast.
God, if that's helping even a little bit, I'm glad.
Luckily,
I'm
so
grateful.
do we.
We're in it together.
But you know what this moment brings us to? The Scarometer. What did you give this one?
Well, I know I've said a lot of things tonight. I know I have been in a lot of places tonight. I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea. A lot of words have been said, but I personally don't subscribe to the belief that there is a reptilian race controlling anything. Reptilian, alien, reptilian, alien. I don't think. Of alien. I don't think that it is the fault of any race from any other place or locale. I think it is our own fault at the end of the day, where we've allowed things to get, how we have allowed things to be.
Yeah.
So the idea,
greed.
Yeah,
Greed,
the idea,
the
capitalism, the idea that a reptilian race is controlling us has never really scared me very much. But what does scare me is the idea of boarding school, because that's very real. And often, as we talk about on this show, it's the day-to-day life and the building blocks of like what that 24-hour cycle looks like for a child or even ourselves. Like it's it's the things contained there that are actually the scariest thing. I know that I would have a terribly difficult time with boarding school. I know it would be so hard for me to adapt to that way of life in terms of like waking at the alarm and the time and, you know, eating the foods that they have, the sponge, etc. Like I've never been very conformist as a person. It would destroy me to exist in a boarding school. And granted, like I said, there are benefits. There are social benefits. Like I love summer camp. I loved bonding really closely with people really quickly. And that idea that you're in this same shared space, you have these same experiences, these classes, whatever, that are bonding you together. I love the idea of that. I do love the idea of community that comes from that. But you can build community in a lot of ways. And it doesn't take being, you know, boarded together against your will 24/7. So I gave it a 4.
Okay.
Mainly for the idea of that. Like, that's what really gets to me. Nothing about it really, like, there weren't, like, we're looking at, right, like, Magician's Assistant we just did. Like, there were certain visuals that were really, like, horror movie designed. And there were a lot of visuals that were horror adjacent. Honestly, some of the visuals in this boarding school were reminiscent of the asylum in Return to Oz. Like, those shadows and the hallways and, like, that's always going to scare me. That's going to rack up some scarometer points for me personally. But only so many, because there wasn't really a visual that I could point to in this episode where I could say that stuck with me. Like, I don't remember. I know that I did, you know, but I don't remember watching this episode as a child. So that's always going to be a lower ranking on a scarometer for me.
Right. Oh, I hear that. I hear that. I gave it a 3 out of 10
Okay.
for the exact same reasons. Literally wrote down, I'm not afraid of a reptilian takeover.
Right.
But I am afraid of boarding schools, mostly in the sense of total institution. It's
Right.
terrifying to me.
Yeah.
But really, specifically, I'm afraid of the very many, very real secrets that are kept behind the closed doors of these boarding schools.
Hey, you know what? Secrets of boarding schools, but if we want to get modern with the reptilian references, secrets in society, secrets in governments.
Yeah, the
good
closed
old
doors
boys.
of society.
The thing that earned all 4 points on my personal scarometer is the Good Old Boys Network.
Yeah.
Because who are they protecting? What are they protecting? And why? And are those reasons aligned with the good of society, with the good of humanity, or just a guy that somebody knew when they were in the 6th grade?
No,
you know?
It's absolutely self-serving. Yeah.
Right. And that should
incredibly-
terrify all of us. Honestly, that should make this a 10 on the scarometer if we're being honest about real life in society. But
So yeah, you know what? Give this one a 12 for its real life consequences and implications.
Man.
Lord of mercy, we did it again. Somehow.
we did. Some way. We made it here.
We made it through. I think the reptilians are actively trying to stop us from finishing this episode, from recording this episode, because we had technological issues.
Galore. Just
that we
so many, one after another.
have never had before.
Yeah, brand new ones, if you can believe it. 4 years in, and we're still finding new ways to fuck up our technology.
Yeah, but I don't think we did it at all. I think it was the reptilians. I think they're
The
listening.
reptiles. Sure.
The lizard folk. They are trying to keep us from telling the truth.
The gremlins, the leprechauns. It's all the same thing at the end of the day.
Gotta blame something. Certainly can't blame yourself. And that's how we've gotten ourselves into this mess today. Man, oh man. Yeah. If this wasn't enough, if you didn't get enough
Somehow.
sponge to fill your stomachs, you can follow us on all the socials. You can do all
At
the
That's
stuff.
Pretty Dark Podcast on Instagram. At That's Pretty Dark on TikTok. Badly neglected at this point because
Eat it
who
up.
knows what's happening with TikTok at this point.
I've never known.
Yeah, it's
Never had a clue.
rough times in these TikTok streets. You can
Give us
also
your,
contact us.
yeah.
Yeah, let us know how you feel at That's Pretty Dark Podcast at gmail.com.
Did you go to a boarding school? Do you have a digital watch? Mm-hmm. Have you ever tried
Did
Sponge?
was your eraser a heart-shaped rainbow eraser that said love that was just way ahead of its time? Let me know, because I remember it.
Yeah, man.
I do.
If you want more of this nonsense, you can follow us on Patreon. Patreon.com/TPD podcast.
That's
it's only
right.
$5 a month. So if you make more than $5 a month,
Yeah.
we will gladly take
Five of those dollars.
Of those dollars.
Yeah.
that would be
Happily, excitedly, gratefully.
And speaking of people who wanted to give us
Oh, yeah.
$5,
Let's shout out some
got some
folks.
patrons.
Thank you so much to Dana E.
And thank you, Mike R.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate
thank
you very much.
We're
More than
really
you know,
glad
really.
you're here. Yeah.
We are.
Very exciting to have you with us.
And for all of you who didn't give us your $5 this month, you can go eat Sponge.
No, you're still listening, and we're still grateful that you're listening.
No, it's
times
true.
are tough. Times are hard.
There are more ways to contribute to our show than
And there are,
monetarily.
yes, absolutely far more ways to contribute than just monetarily. We're really glad to be in your ears right now. We're glad to be providing any kind of escape from this hellscape that we are all currently enduring and experiencing.
God, yes.
And
Talking about the winter storm with all the ice. That's
right,
what you're talking
all
about,
the
right?
ice is just
Because, you know,
really unthinkable and
hard to see in the dark
We're here
sometimes.
with you. We're here with you with our
So much
flashlights.
camouflage.
We're here with our flashlights and our
flashlights.
whistles, and we're going to do what we can to
Always.
be here with you, to be here in your ears, to support you. Let us know if there are ways that we can support you that we aren't. I mean, now more than ever, it's the time to build community, be part of community, and we would love to extend that to our Darkling friends, however that works out, whether it be Patreon or social media. Like, we're not alone. We're never really alone. And
Never.
one of the ways that we can be never really alone is observing, supporting our community, defending our neighbors. We all have cameras. We come equipped with cameras now. Capitalism has done us that one service, so use them for good and pretty. And we're really grateful to be here with you, to be in your ears, and we intend to keep doing more of the same. So
And if
thank
all
you
else
so
fails, plug up your speakers And pull an Eddie Munson and just
pull an Eddie Munson at the end of the day.
Blast that rock and roll
An
into
electric
the
guitar,
ears
some rock and roll.
of the oppressors.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's all we can do. Just keep surviving. Conformity, like we learned, conformity does not mean survival. And,
No.
a lot of rules
Oftentimes,
should not be followed.
conformity means death. So
Yep.
we're here.
So thrive and survive and keep listening to That's Pretty Dark podcast.
Stay warm. Melt that ice where you find it, and we will
light those
see
fires.
you just as soon as we can.
Keep
we can't
fires
wait.
ablaze.
Thank you all. We have some very exciting content coming up in February. We're going to embark on another movie night. You might see some maybe new faces or familiar faces around the feed of That's Pretty Dark. You never know. But we look forward to it.
Around the campfire.
We're excited to share
Pretty
some
Dark
very
campfire.
exciting developments in the Pretty Dark universe.
We got them. Can't wait to share
They're
'em.
coming for you.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Love you.
See y'all next time.
Be safe. And I mean that. I mean that.
Take care of yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.
That's Pretty Dark podcast is produced by Kaylin Andrews and me, Christian Baxter Mott.
With music by Jonathan Simmons and cover design by Halftone Horror.
You can support our show by supporting our sponsors, or go to patreon.com/TPD podcast to unlock all the Pretty Dark bonus content we have in store.
Please share your experiences and let us know what shows, films, or villains still haunt you from childhood on our socials or at that'sprettydarkpodcast@gmail.com.
For all other information, visit our website, that'sprettydark.com.
Remember, you're never really alone.
So, until next time, sweet dreams, everyone.
Children have been naughty. You should have eaten your sponge like all the others.